So I was born. My dad, he was actually into he was for a while until I was 5 years old. He was into Satanism and stuff. And we was at when I was 5, we was at a Motley Crue concert, and my mother, and it was a church night actually. So they shut the church down, and my mother asked them just to come, instead of having regular service, to be praying for my dad. So the whole church come together and was like this, praying for my dad this whole time. And my dad said that he heard something ask him, you got yourself here and you got your 5-year-old son here at this concert with all this going on. And he said that was his changing. That's what changed him. You know, that right. It just pierced his heart. His family, his whole family, you know, was very, very sanctified, and they was my great grandmother and grandmother come from a line of, my grandmother actually sung Southern gospel music and all that. So it was like he kind of was the prodigal as well. But 5 years old, he got saved and all. So I remember like waking up like getting ready for school and stuff, and my dad's already been up for an hour or two, man, just seeking the Lord, and in his quiet time with God and all, and having notebooks like just full of like different stuff that the Lord showed him, and just studies and things and all. So we'll work on up to I done pretty good through school, made good grades. I got to about where it was about middle school. I just kind of rebelled, started hanging around with different people. I had some cousins that had like that their boyfriends and husbands were into different stuff, and I just started hanging out with them some, and that's when first time I got high. I was 12 years old.
12 years old, first time you got high, and
Yep.
and let me I want to say, your dad got saved. God spoke to your dad at a Motley Crue concert.
At a Motley Crue concert,
which that's pretty cool. That might be the only time that's happened, but it's pretty awesome. And then something else that stood out is that when you would get up as a little boy, you'd see your daddy at the kitchen table reading the Bible. You said,
well, he had a desk in the living room.
Okay, he'd be there
and
studying.
He'd be right there, you know, and he'll have his stuff left open for me and everything, man. You know, basically allowing me to see. You know,
leading by example.
That's right. He didn't know nothing about discipleship, so he wasn't discipled or nothing like that. But he just knew that the Word of God was the truth.
So then you're 12, you get high.
Yes, sir.
Smoked a joint.
Smoked some weed. Yep.
Smoked some weed, and then that started something for you.
That started something for me. I wanted more. I wanted to experience, and so the first thing I used that was away from marijuana was cocaine. That was probably about a year or so later.
So 12, you get high, smoking weed. 13, you snort your first line of coke.
Yeah, it was it was a totally different experience, man. It took me down a real satanic evil hole and all, and from that, you know, that wasn't enough. And
okay, so I would imagine, you know, I've never used drugs, but I've talked to a lot of people.
Yeah.
That have a drug past, and one of the things that I was real inquisitive with you about and asking you was how much do you open your mind and your heart to demonic influence, and you would say that when you started down that path of drug abuse, that literally it's very spiritual.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
You're opening yourself to spiritual things, the dark side of spirituality.
That's right. But you know what though? Let me go back a little bit. So because this is a very important key part as well. Okay, I walked down the aisle. I even got dunked in the water, you know, and I wasn't discipled or nothing.
At what age was that?
I done that when I would say I was about 6, between 6 and 7, something like that, young. Maybe even a little bit older than that. I can't really. Some of the storyline I don't remember the ages of. This like main keys is what I remember the most. But this is a good thing though to let everybody know, man, to share. And I really thought that I was saved and I was a Christian. Even, bro, there was times that I was getting, after the cocaine, I started dealing with meth and stuff like that. When I got older, I thought I was still a Christian. I would get so high, I would tell people about Jesus. I thought I was deceived. That's the art of deception, is not knowing. And I really thought that if I died, I would go to heaven right here. Even though it was a wicked path and was a lot of darkness there, but I still thought I would go to heaven because I was deceived by Satan.
In your mind, you made that decision, that profession of faith as a 6 or 7 year old.
That's why I thought that's all it took. I've never taught different.
And that's so common in the Bible Belt. People that listen to this that haven't grown up in the Bible, I would say in the Bible Belt, in certain contexts, specifically smaller town, rural Bible Belt, there's this idea that seems prevalent that's similar to like infant baptism, where in traditions like the Presbyterian Church, Methodist Church, going back to the Catholic Church, where babies are baptized, set the Catholic Church aside, but in mainline denominations, Protestant denominations like Presbyterian, Methodist, the baptizing of a baby is not considered salvation for that baby. It's considered a covenant. It's sort of like in the Baptist world, they do this thing called baby dedication. It's basically you're laying that child at the feet of Jesus, and as a parent, you're acting in obedience. I don't hold to that's called paedobaptism. I don't hold to a paedobaptist theology or orthodoxy or orthopraxy, but I have a lot of strong brothers that do, and grew up in a family where most people on my mom's side of the family are either Methodist or Presbyterian. So everybody got baptized as babies. What we do in the non-paedobaptist church in the Bible Belt, predominantly Baptist churches, is we do something similar where when a kid is 5, 6, 7, 8, they make a profession of faith, and a lot of times there's this pressure to accept Jesus, and the quotation here, the air quotes, invite him into your heart, and then you're okay. The problem is we've created, both with infant baptism and with sort of garnering these these early childhood decisions, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, I think people end up leaving with a false sense of security, where what you're describing, I can live however I want to, even though I'm not following Jesus, but I got saved, but I got baptized. When I was a baby, they baptized me, or I've been at church, or my grandparents, or whatever. And so you had that's big time, your experience.
Yeah, that was, man. It was like, basically, I felt like I had my ticket. You know, I mean, that ticket, man. I felt like, hey, man, I can do anything now. You know, I'm
going
good.
to heaven.
I'm going to heaven, boy. Hit the streets to go.
Yeah.
You know, and I just felt like that was that's what it was about.
Yeah.
There was no deeper conversation. There was no deeper discipleship. There was no teaching. There was nothing like that. You know, so I thought it was good.